So Mel, people might not know this about you, but you are my favorite witch on the planet. And we are entering a very witchy, rich time. So of course it's like for many souls in this continent, it's Christmas time, but it's also, we're entering a time of the most potent darkness for, our hemisphere. And we're entering the solstice. And it's like a time of deep winter. And I wanted to connect with you so that we could maybe offer some ideas out there for how people can use this time for its potency and to nourish themselves as we start as we meet the darkness and then start to move back into the light.
Well, thank you. And I love you. And you are a fellow witch.
Thanks.
Yeah. Angel. I feel like this time is about moving into. Do you hear that?
It's a plane.
Oh, how nice. Like, what is that? Is that God calling?
God is calling us. He's here. He's flying in.
Right track. You're right on the right track. But to move into the root. I mean, like even the dark. It's where we move into the root, the essence, the what is the must that's needed, like what is that aspect, and cut away all the extra,
Yeah, I love that. The root, it's kind of like you said, the essence, what is essential, and peeling away, just like the trees drop their leaves and everything gets stripped bare. And sometimes, and it's so funny that this is like commercialism and materialism. It's like we're scared of that. So we put all this stuff on top of it.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh, what? Yes. So profound.
But I think that there's an opportunity to listen to those voices of what is the most, like the crystalline essence of this moment and what I need. And to peel away all of the extra trappings in order to get really clear on what are, it's like almost like, what is our core value?
Yes.
What's most important.
Yes. And I feel like pausing, I mean, that could be a simple pause, like right now, I'll take 1 breath, 3 breaths. And also pausing, stopping the activities, saying, okay, I'm going to spend, if you have, the ability to create the time for yourself, I'm going to spend this whole day in quiet nourishment. Or I'm going to spend this whole evening, light a candle, write in my journal, and get to what do I need to thrive now? Let's say for the next 6 months, because we are in a 6 month cycle now of moving from the root into this, the sun, more sun each day, like we are growing the next 6 months upwards. So that pulls me.
So what practices would you suggest for people? So it's a potent time of year to actually let go, to look back and reflect and say, okay, what can I let go? Like, and to me, that always sounds so vague, letting go. Like, how do we do that? So do you have any suggestions for people who are looking back and saying, like, I really want to release this trauma, this relationship, this, this grasping, this attachment? Any rituals or practices or contemplations you might offer people who want to kind of move through some things this time of year?
What's coming through me, because there are so many, and I know many, I mean, many of us, right? Even a dance party is a good way to clear, right? Totally.
Yeah.
But what comes through me is the beautiful act of untying the heart, which is like following whatever is tying you up, following that strand and coming all the way to the end. What is tying you? Person, story, circumstance. It could be very old. It could be more recent. But then forgiving it and acknowledging what it taught you. So you untie by forgiving, and the forgiving is a process of like, thank you for the experience, thank you for the lessons, and now with that thank you, I let you go.
That's
Not cut,
beautiful.
untie.
Yeah. Yes. And I think that's what I've always been scared of too, is like letting go of relationships always feels so scary to me, because it feels like there's like a cutting off, or it feels violent,
Yeah.
as opposed to untying, or, kind of like, it's almost like unknotting things. So it can be a clear
Yeah.
transmission rather than a jangled
Yeah.
kind of knotted
Yeah.
thing. And also I love the practice. For me, journaling really works. So, I'd invite people out there, like the journaling of like maybe writing out, if writing works for you, like writing out your gratitude. Like I want to, thank and acknowledge and to be able to hold that and then release it. And you could even, like, I always like to burn things.
Me too.
I like burning
Yeah.
things to let them go. And,
yeah.
And what about yoga practices? So of course, many of our people are yogis. So anything you would suggest that they could do for themselves right now in this kind of darker, more contemplative space?
Well, and just to finish that thought of untying, if we root seated in a neutral seat, right? So you can do it reclining, go into your root, breathe through the trunk, move into the heart, and follow the strands. Then release them, right? And then move through the crown, create that kind of seal and healing around you, and then move on. So that meditation would be for all, but for our yogis for sure. Fire, I think of this could be a time as we move and clear also into maybe more fire practices, and it really depends on your dosha, on your makeup, right? But and your situation. But it could be a really good time to anchor in Kapalabhati or Shining Skull. No, that's bhastrika, but just the exhale out. What do you think? I mean, I go to fire.
Not surprising. I mean, I also think that, I think that yin is also really good for those like who maybe need, like, just to soften into the letting go. Like sometimes you need fire to burn things out. You're like, I'm gonna, and then sometimes it just has to be like letting go is just opening your hand. It's like your hand's been closed. Actually, this has been the fire, and then this is what needs to happen. So for that, I'd say go into your room, dim the lights, put on some chill music, and like yin. And but yin with presence. Like there's a way to practice yoga where we just kind of do the practice, and then there's practicing with the intention of releasing, like unknotting some of these old things and really softening into allowing ourselves to let go. It's like we tie ourselves up and we actually just have to let the knots slide away. Yeah. And then sometimes you got to burn them.
Yeah. And it's funny because we do have those tendencies. Like my tendency is to burn. And I know that water is very helpful, more yin, or to even literally, if you have the capability, run a bath for yourself. Run a bath for yourself. Soak and clear with the intention. You could do that meditation while in, an Epsom salt bath that let everything soothe. How would you know, what would be a way, I know you work with so many students, what would be a way for them to know the difference? They're like, okay, we could do fire, we could do water. Which one should I do?
Okay. So this is for me, like I know which one I need to do because of my own energy. Like if my energy if I feel like a depressed energy, or I feel like a sad or heaviness, then I got to do a dance party. I got to go wrestle somebody. I got to like move.
You need
things.
some fire.
You need fire to kind of get the space to clear it out. But if it's a feeling of, but if it's not a feeling of being stuck, if it's actually a feeling of grief or sadness, then sometimes for that, I think it's useful to be in the yin so you can mourn. Like letting go requires different things. Sometimes it requires almost the fire, like an anger and a willpower and the burning. And then sometimes letting go requires grief. And then sometimes it's a combination of both. Like I'm a fan of trying, and like you'll feel which one is working for you. If you're not sure, honestly, start with a dance party, shake out that energy, move it around. And then if you're like, okay, now I need to like lie down and be quiet. And then you'll kind of feel where you're going to have the most resonance, like authenticity. you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really agree
I
with
love
you that it depends on where you are, but feel free to experiment, friends at home. You know, whether that means like starting off with bhastrika, and if you find that depleting and not nourishing, then try a quiet side, you know, so you can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I would reserve the fire practices for a few hours before you sleep. So morning, afternoon, right? Don't, you know, I wouldn't do
Good
those right
safety
before
tip.
you go. Yeah, not right before you go to bed. And then the water practice or the yin practice, that really that can happen anytime. And you could do both. What I just want to add is that I know, like, as I can be in Ayurveda, it's pitta, as you know, as I can be very fiery. I know that if I feel ticked off a lot, my tummy's burning, right? I feel quick to answer, right? I'm making this crazy face at people, right? You know, I have a lot of tension in my body. Fire practices are not, they'll amplify that.
Yes.
So if I have any of that, that's another way, right? That I'm like, oh, I need to cool this off. I need to water this, or I have so much sun in me right now. I need moon.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. So just to kind of summarize for our lovely people. So embracing this year as a time of getting back to the root, the essence, like not being afraid to let go, and then finding practices that allow you to detangle yourself. So that beautiful meditation practice, which I want you to do an audio recording of, my dear, that beautiful heart untangle, that would be amazing.
That's a good idea. Sure.
It'd be amazing to lead people through that. So if it's a meditation, the journaling work, big dance party to burn stuff out, or like the pranayama, the Kapalabhati, the kriyas and pranayama. And potentially also yin or darker practices as well that invite you to embrace a quiet, darker place. Anything else
really
you can
good.
think of?
Well, you know, I think of just a little bit. I mean, all of this is homework. Did you catch that?
That was so clever.
Yeah. Thanks. All of that is, and I think, you know what might be a really great homework is to practice 10 and 10, meaning like practice 10 no's just for the day. I'm like, I'm going to say no to anything non-essential. And I'm going to practice, and I'm going to practice 10 yeses to my essential self. The bath, the really nourishing food, the taking time to eat my food and not be walking around while I eat it or whatever. I'm going to say, and every one of those is a yes. And to acknowledge that, yes, yes. You know, maybe that would be a 10 and 10 as a good little homework for myself as well.
That is I love that. I love that. It's so practical. And those little things make such a difference in how we feel. So before we leave our midwinter, deep winter conversation, because this is a time of year which is very chaotic, and for some people it can also be full of grief because there are all these expectations of what a holiday is supposed to look like or what family is supposed to look like, and nobody can live up to the Norman Rockwell thing. Like, nobody can live up to the Coca-Cola ads, like, or be a happy polar bear. So how do we, how might we also navigate this time of year, given the fact that it is so hypey, but really it's about, like, there's a darkness that can be nourished as well. Do you have any suggestions for people?
My suggestion, I know this is fire, but in a different way, to light a candle, to make space for yourself wherever it is. And if you have the ability to quietly light a candle, you know, set your intention of being grounded, of you know, in words of recently passed Ram Dass, to be loving awareness, and just stay with that very simple, you know, quiet potency. That's what comes to mind, and there's so many, but that's one. How about you? What would you say?
I think my suggestion is little steps. It's kind of like your little yeses and the no's, which it's to be present, like just to be present. And this comes back to what you were saying about the essence and the root. It's like to come back to essential presence, moment to moment. because I have all these ideas about the holiday, but honestly, what is really meaningful is being present with you, being present with the person who's right there in front of me, because so much of what we've created, our culture has created around this, is designed to be wow and draw us out.
Yeah.
And really, it's so powerful when we're here. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like, grandma, I'm going to scratch your back or play cards with you. Or
Mhm.
my niece, I'm going to beat you at pool, but we're going to have family time, or like, or whatever. I'm going to have I'm going to be present with you.
It's
and
like
not
one focused presence. Yes. Oh, that's
and
so
that's
good.
enough, right? That's
Oh,
enough
yeah.
to do.
Oh, that's a huge gift. Yeah. And when you say that, I definitely like that. That's nourishing for me right now in my own situation. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I just want to also take this moment, Mel, to thank you and to say hi from us, and to thank everyone who's listened and is part of this community at this time of year. Like, we're so, so grateful. So grateful. So, Mel, I'm so grateful for you, and also for all of you listeners out there. So grateful to have you in our community.
Yeah. So very grateful for you, Rachel. You're your sister. And I love you. And I'm super thankful for all of our friends and our community around the world who that we support and support us. So,
yes.
okay.
All right. Happy solstice, everybody.